This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishi K.
Hello, beautiful. Sanaya Irani is in the house. How are you?
Hi, Hrishi. I'm good, thank you.
I'm very excited to meet you because you've never been on the show before, so you're a show virgin. And all my listeners are dying to know more about you. How are you doing?
I'm a movie promotion virgin. That's what I am. It's my first time promoting so much, and I'm good, thank you.
Listen, I find your career quite fascinating for somebody who had absolutely no connection to the movies or to television in the first place.
Right.
You come and suddenly you take the television world by storm. You do mainstream serials. You're also a dancer. You do these dancing reality shows. Do you sometimes just pause, take a look back and say, how did all this happen to me? Most of it happened by plan, by design, or did it just unfold some things which karmically unfold?
Yeah, I think it karmically unfolded. I never intended to be part of this industry. I was studying my MBA. I was doing an internship in an advertising agency, Lintas, at that time. And my mum, for some reason, thought that I would be really good in this industry. And she kept pushing me to do it. I don't know what she saw in me. And that's how it kind of begun. It was a terrible first 3.5 years of only rejection, I think. And I think that made me want to do it more than anything else. I was like, what is wrong with me? Like, I just couldn't figure what was the matter with me. What is it that I don't have that everybody else has? So I think after 3.5 to at least actually 4 years of rejection, I finally started doing ad films and stuff, and that just got the ball rolling. And then I think so that's what my mom, I think, figured about me, was that there is more to this girl than just doing ad films. And that's what I felt at that point. I was like, I don't want to act for 30 seconds. I want to act for like 5 hours. Now what can I do next that'll make me act for 5 hours? And that's when TV came in. I really do feel I'm lucky for somebody who didn't speak the language, who knew nothing about acting. Like, I've learned my acting sitting in ad film audition rooms, just watching people audition. That's how I learned. I would enter and I would be like, sorry, I don't want to go now. I'm just going to wait. And I'd wait there for an hour and watch people audition. And then I'd be like, so that's how I think I can do it. So I was copying initially, And it was a crazy journey for me, just the language. I think today is also the hardest part. I'm very glad that this interview is in English. So you're going to get a lot to hear from me. Otherwise, it's like zip it, Sanaya. But
I have to say, a little birdie tells me one of your first photo shoots was with Bomzi, with Baman Irani.
Baman Irani, yes.
And my first one ever was with Baman.
Are you serious?
And I was so awkward. I remember, this is... his office was right across the road from another friend of mine called Fahad Wadia at the time, and this was the Russian consulate building.
Right. In town, right?
In town.
Right.
We're talking Breach Candy,
yes.
And, there was supposed to be some publicity stills for the radio station that I was working at the time.
Right.
And because I'm really body conscious, it's only now with social media that, radio jockeys are on camera. But back in the day, everybody thought I looked like George Clooney. And now they see this overweight Madrasi on a mic and they go, what happened? But I'm just saying, back in the day, it was all about audio.
Right.
So I was so awkward. And Baman used to scold me and say, why are you slouching?
That's
Stand up straight.
Baman.
Things like that. I still remind him of it when he comes for an interview. So he said, you're far better on radio, so don't even try. So
he's so
tell
honest.
me about that.
Yeah, he's
first
so...
photo shoot.
Yeah. He's really honest, and that's a Parsi thing, I think. Irani thing. Sorry. Irani. Baman. Irani. That's just how we roll, I think. So initially, I remember when my mom took me to him, she's like, Baman, I want to get Sanaya into this and this. So he sat me down and he's like, it's a really hard industry. There's so much of rejection. There's so much you're going to face. And he's like, the only way you should do this is if you really want to do it. So he's like, you know what? I'm not going to take your pictures. Go back home. Think about it. And when you really want to do it, you'll call me. And I went back home and I thought about it and I was like, you know what? Actually, I don't really want to do it. So maybe I shouldn't be doing this. But then I had my mother doing the tandav above my head. And she's like, call him back. So I called him the next day and I'm like, yes, Baman, I'm ready. And he's like, your mother's standing next to you, right? I'm like, yeah, right next to me. He's like, it's okay, just come in. But yeah, he's a really, he really sat there and told me what this is. And when I look back at what he said, I think it's that perseverance that made me survive. Because once I started doing it, then I really wanted to do it. And that's what he was meaning. He's like, you should really want this to survive this industry, because there's so much rejection and there's so much that we face that you should really want it. And I think that's what paid off.
Lovely. So let's come to Ghost. I mean, this is a Vikram Bhatt spook fest, and he's really successful at this stuff. And then you meet the guy, and he's a whole different animal, because he's
so
such
much
a
more
sensitive.
sensitive. He gets what people are thinking.
And he's just
so
an ocean of
spiritual.
knowledge. Yeah, you can talk to him about anything on the face of the earth, whether it's radio or it's cinema and this and that. It just must be enriching to hang around with a guy like that.
Yeah. It was completely. And he has a great sense of humor. I keep telling him that, and he's like, Sanaya, not a lot of people get it. Like, I'm always cracking up. Like, Vikram will say two things and I'm laughing, and not everyone gets it, actually. No, he's extremely spiritual. He's extremely intelligent. He has so much to like talk about, so much knowledge to give you, and you can just sit, and he's a brilliant storyteller. So even when he's telling you something about life, you want to listen. You're not just like, he's a preacher, what is he saying, move on. He's just so interesting to be around. And I mean, I've known Vikram for a while now. I did a web series with him too before that. So now it's just like an everyday thing.
So in the midst of a serious interview, he turns around and says, I make special effects. So I meant, like, of course you make special effects. You get into the studio and you make them for your movie. So he said, no, that's not what I mean.
Yeah.
I create them with my mouth. I said, you're kidding me.
He did that.
And he did that on this mic.
He did that in the film for me.
So apparently he does that when you're filming.
Right. So I'll tell you what, when you're filming for a horror film, it's actually like, it's a lot of acting that goes into it, because there is nothing to be afraid of. Everything is done on VFX, right? I don't have a face or that terrible thing coming towards me. I'm looking at a mark which is given to me, or somebody holding a stick and they're saying that, isse daro, idhar dekh ke daro, and I'm like, so my question to Vikram would be like, so how afraid should I be? I mean, is it really scary? I don't know what it looks like. And so he would literally, he's like, you know what, Sanaya, just hear me. I'm going to talk, I'm going to make sounds, I'm going to tell you what it looks like, what's happening, and react to that. And I think that was the biggest thing for me. Like, it helped me so much during the film, because just his sound effects kept me going through it. And I'm a fattu. So he's just like, oh, it's coming. Boo! And I'm like, oh! So yeah, and his sound, if I'm telling you, he does it. He actually does it. He's brilliant at it.
Fattu is a word I would associate with me, because I remember when I was a kid, I used to watch that Z horror show thingy.
Right.
You want to watch it. Yeah. You want to watch it, but you don't want to watch it.
You're hearing it more than watching it.
So I remember we used to take blankets, my brother and me, and there used to be holes, and we'd try to watch it through the hole. And then, some elder would come in and say, why don't you just turn it off? You don't want to watch it.
Right.
But there's fun in watching it that way.
That's
right?
me. That's
so
me.
You did that too.
In every horror film, that is me. I'm like, is it coming? Is it coming? Is it? And you know what? That's what Vikram talks about when we were shooting the film. And I'm like, but this, he's like, no, this is it. Sanaya, this is when they will be saying, ara, mat dekho. He's like, that's what you're playing with, their mind, more than, actually anything else. You're playing with the mind. And even this film is more about playing with the mind than, just like, hands twisting and somebody getting pulled out of something. It's a very, it's playing with your mind in this film.
Well, I like that you are a lawyer who means business.
Right.
And might I add, you look really sexy and incredibly beautiful,
Oh my
even
God,
as a lawyer.
I got a sexy on radio. Okay, I don't feel sexy, hot. These things are not in my dictionary, and when somebody says it to me, I feel so special.
Why? I mean, cute is so passé.
But that's what I am according to everybody. And it's really hilarious. I just got a message from a director friend of mine. We used to joke about it when we were doing TV, and everyone used to say, Sanaya, you're very sweet, you're cute, you're not sexy. So he was the only one who used to tell me, no, Sanaya, you're hot. So he sent me this long message after my trailer came out saying that you really deserve all of this, and I'm so glad for you, and you really deserve this because you're hot. And I was
Totally.
like, okay then.
And the hottest you is you being lawyer. You know,
Right,
I'm not saying, and not, I mean, the other stuff is hot too, but I'm just saying from a personal perspective. So it's really interesting that, you know, she is in a rational profession like the law, because the law is all about being rational.
Right.
And she's confronted with this totally irrational situation. And that must be really interesting for you to dig your teeth into that part.
Right. So, when you see the film, I can't obviously reveal much about it, but she's a lawyer. So, law is law. You can't, you know, supernatural doesn't come into the books of law. And when she's, this case is brought to her, she's just like, this is bizarre. This just doesn't make sense. But there is another side to her. When you see the film, you will understand, which was actually the biggest challenge for me, is that she has demons of her own, like in her personal life. And now she's like put up with this situation where she has to fight a different kind of demon in her professional life. So I think somewhere it is that mix of her personal life that is taking her, pulling her towards this other side. So when I can't obviously say much being a horror film, but when you see it, you'll understand what I'm talking about. And I think that was the most challenging part for me, was trying to mix this girl's personal life with the professional side and still moving on with the story, you know. Giving the audience this little perspective as to why she is like that and what is happening to her, but not wasting too much time with it, because we have to move on with the film. So it was actually quite a challenge to play this role. And like Vikram says, this character is him. It's yeah. He used to always say, I was like, I can't do this. This is not me. This is who is like that. He's like me. Sanaya, this is me. And like I was asking him, I was like, can I say this in interviews? Because when people see the film, they'll be like, this is so sad. But he's like, no, of course you can say it. It is me. That's the person I am. So I was
Wow,
like, okay.
that's interesting. He never said that when he spoke to me.
Yeah.
Vikram, grouse.
He has to leave some stuff for me.
But yeah, in that aspect, you know, it's a whole emotional arc, isn't it? Because it's no secret. The trailer reveals it, that she goes through a bout of being a victim of infidelity, because, you know, he cheats on her. That's what the trailer tells us. So am I reading too much into it, or is that doesn't work?
You should just read whatever you want to. Wait for the film.
Because, you know, from the trailer, it just seems that Shivam's character asks you to work on the case, you guys fall in love, and then he cheats on you with some British girl, and suddenly you're giving these cryptic smiles.
I'm not gonna say much. I'm not gonna say. You can think whatever you want to.
Okay, fine. So she does represent Shivam's character. Isn't that it? I mean, he's been accused
Yes,
of
of
murder.
course. She's his lawyer and she has to fight this case, and her only logic is that I can't put a ghost behind bars. I need to put, then there needs to be somebody who is charged guilty for it, and a ghost cannot be charged guilty for
of
it.
Shivam's wife, and he says that it was a ghost that made it happen.
Right, and this is taken from, I'm sure Vikram told you this, there was a real life incident where the case was called The Devil Made Me Do It, where this Mr. Johnson murdered his landlord, and he said, I didn't do it, the devil made me do it. So he found this really interesting, and that's what he like built on in the film Ghost. Of course, with a lot of other things happening in the film.
So, did you shoot in any spooky castles or houses and things like that? Did you have any moments, or was it only comedy?
Did Vikram tell you about the medium?
He said that there was one guy
Right.
who said he could see somebody in the corridor.
Right. So we were shooting. I
found that really strange. So this guy said, no, I can see somebody looking at us.
Yeah.
But could you see that person? You couldn't either.
No, I couldn't, obviously. And I didn't even want to look in that direction. See, you and me are the kind of people, even if there is somebody standing behind, we won't turn around and look.
Why would you?
Like, we're the kind of people who are in horror films, like, why is she going out there? If there's a sound, just stay in the room.
Stay in the room. Yeah, correct.
You know?
Yeah, why explore?
So I'm like, if somebody's telling me there is a ghost behind, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to keep looking ahead and ignore it. So... yeah, but that place, so we were shooting our climax sequence in this place. It used to be a hostel. It was, then it became something else, and it was burnt down, and it was just like what is those places? In Hindi, you call it khanjar? No, khanjar is a knife, right? Khandar.
Khandar. Ruins. Yeah, khandar.
Right.
Yeah.
We both are equally bad. Okay. So it was like a khandar kind of a place, and of course it was cold in London, but see, I pick up on, it's weird, but I'm extremely intuitive as a person, and I pick up on vibes really fast. Like if I enter a place and I don't feel it, and I was not feeling a good vibe over there, and it was cold, like it was cold outside. It was cold inside where we were shooting, but it was just a weird cold. Like, I can't explain. You know, that cold was getting to my bones. I was standing next to a heater. It was so hot. Everyone would tell me, Sanaya, don't stand so close. My coat caught on fire.
Wow.
I didn't feel the heat. I was so cold. It was like in my bones. And we were shooting there for 2 days. And all I kept saying was, I'm done with this place. I don't want to be here. I don't feel... I didn't feel good about that place. And then comes this guy who's an actor and also a medium in real life, not in the film. And he was like, you know, she's there. She's watching us. She's standing out there and we're disturbing her. And we were like, who? And Vikram is like, मैं दुनिया को उल्लू बनाता हूँ, ये मुझे उल्लू बना रहा है. And he's like, it's Rebecca. And he spelled her name. It's like Rebekah. And we were like, huh? And then Vikram sent the line producer to find out. And there was actually a matron there who lived in that hostel called Rebecca.
Wow.
And he's like, you know, we are like disturbing her. But I didn't feel like nothing spooky like that happened. But of course, I freaked out when he told me. I'm like, I just want to get done with this place. I was like, can we shoot it in Bombay? Can we shoot the rest in Bombay? Which we did, actually. We shot the rest of that sequence here. So it was good.
So I'm given to understand Shivam is kind of like a newcomer.
Right.
I mean, you've done your time on television and, you know, you've had enough practice, years and years of practice. Mm-hmm. But was he rusty or was he quick on the ball working with him? Or was he nervous? Did you have to calm him down and say, you know, Shivam, I got your back. This is working.
You know, I think, like you said, I've done my bit and that's what I thought when I went there. And I'm like, I'm going to kill this, do 10 years of acting. But it wasn't like that. I think I was as much a newcomer as Shivam was. I think I was faster on the uptake. That's like, because I didn't get what Vikram wanted from me. Like the first 10 days, I was just lost in this film. And I was telling Vikram, I was like, I made the biggest mistake of my life doing this film because people are going to laugh at me. Like, I was like, I thought I thought I knew it, but I didn't. He literally like baby steps. He nurtured me into this character, this role. And he kept telling me, he's like, Sanaya, you're a fabulous actor. You need to stop doubting yourself. It's just this role. He's like, this role is making me do this to you, but he's like, you won't feel this when you do other films. And he's like, you need to stop doubting yourself. But, you know, after 10 years, if you're not getting something, you're like, what is wrong with me? But I'm just so glad that I started this with Vikram because he's been here for long enough to know what an actor is thinking, what they're feeling, how he's supposed to take them through this journey. And he did that for both me and Shivam. Of course, Shivam, I'm sure he was a tad bit more nervous than me because... so see, the thing with me is like, if you keep correcting me, a newcomer would get nervous, right? By the third take, if he wasn't getting it, he'd be like, why am I not getting this? You know, and it would make every take worse. But with me, I've been through that process. So I know that you can't get hassled by it's not happening. You just need to better every take. And I think that was the difference between Shivam and me. And of course, I was explaining to him what Vikram wanted. I think I could understand what Vikram wanted a little more than Shivam got it initially. And I was telling him that, you know, this is what he wants. This is how we need to do it. Also things like, you know, we shared such a good rapport, Shivam and me. We used to laugh and joke and do all of that. But before the scene, you need that moment to get into it. And I would tell him, I was like, Shivam, don't talk to me. Like for at least 5 minutes before the scene, be in your own. Because every time you're not in your own and you're giving a shot, Vikram is saying no to it. And that changed because when he was in his own, nicer. So I'm like, you know, let's keep our fun and joke aside because this film is not that kind of a film. You know, I was like, this is not going to work, this playful nature that we have. So these little things, but otherwise we both were equally clueless.
I'm just curious to know, I mean, only because a radio presenter can never be in that position. I mean, you guys have to go through it all the time as actors. When you have intimate scenes with your co-star like this, how does your partner react?
My husband.
Yeah, your husband. I mean, how does he? I mean, both of you are actors in that aspect. So is there a perfect understanding, or does he? Are there Saki one-liners at dinner sometimes saying, "Oh, I saw that"? No.
If there were going to be Saki one-liners, I would have never done it, right? Because for me, I feel like family, my personal life is way more important than this. But on the other hand, like my husband did a film before me, right before me, and he had intimate scenes before me. So I was actually coming to ask him that. I was like, what is it like to shoot this? So I was taking advice from him on how it's supposed to be done. It was hilarious because he went ahead and we both have like had, if I can say this, kissing scenes for the first time, right? In television, you don't do it.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Like, I know a lot of people are like, Sanaya did it. I think we're actors. You do things that we do in everyday lives. And of course, some people are comfortable and some aren't. I don't think kissing is a problem at all. And I find it weird when people come really close and then nothing happens. You know, because I see so many English films and I'm like, why do people stop? Like even in television or whatever, right?
Yeah, and leaves don't come and meet each other.
Yeah,
Things like
but then I also feel that we also don't understand where to draw the line sometimes. So for me, it's very important that it makes sense to the script. It's not just, you know, like I've got a lot of questions from interviewers saying that aapke film mein aise raunchy scenes hai. Of course, the song they may feel, you know, but when they see the film, I'm like, you need to see the film. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Somebody needs to see it. And if after the film someone comes out thinking it's raunchy, I'll be surprised. Because that's the last thing on the line over there.
But your husband and you never had a conversation about this. It's just that understanding, innate understanding.
No, so when he got the first offer, because we had never done it, he was like, you know, baby, this has come about. And I'm like, you should do it. And he's like, no, I don't feel good about it. I'm like, you know what? If you're not feeling good thinking that I'm going to be uncomfortable, then that shouldn't be the case. But if you as a person just don't feel good about it, then you shouldn't do it. So, of course, then he thought about it. And I was like, I have like no issues. I literally have no issues. There's so much more to life than these issues. So I'm like, we have bigger battles to fight and bigger things to do in life than be like, oh, you kissed this actor on screen. So, yeah, so it was fine. I mean, really nothing.
And when your turn happened, it was fine too.
Yeah, I mean, it's hilarious to the point where now we are comparing whose kiss looks better on screen. And I've won this, hands down, baby. I'm saying it on radio. I have won this.
You the one.
Yeah. I have so won. And he was so upset, like when we were comparing it. He's like, it's not my fault. It's not. I'm like, baby, you suck. I did a better job than you, clearly. You know? Yeah.
So amongst all the TV shows that you've done, which one is closest to your heart? Would it be the first one you ever did, or would you tell us why?
Is Pyar Ko Kya Naam Do is the closest to my heart because I think, one, it was a show that I wanted to do so badly when I had auditioned for it because it was something I had never done. It was like this girl who's obnoxious, also speaks really fast. Again, language problems, didn't know how I would do it. I felt it was a challenging role and that's exactly what it was. So when you overcome that challenge and you get appreciation for it, it just makes you feel something else. So that show for that reason, and also I've literally made the best friends of my life from that show. So it means a lot to me.
And the dancing stuff, there's been Nach Baliya, there's been Jhalak also, right?
Right,
yeah?
right.
You obviously enjoy that. You know, you're a fabulous dancer, yeah?
No. I'm not a fabulous dancer. I love dancing and I think that's what reciprocates on screen. But I'm not a fabulous dancer. I have a long way to go. But I get rhythm, I get beat, I get all of that. So, yeah.
So, you know, there are two kinds of people. One is the rationalists and one are the people who are the believers. And when I say believers, it means you could believe in spirits like what Shamak believes in.
Right.
Or you could believe in, you know, an afterlife and things like that.
I do.
So which one do you believe in?
I'm like Shamak. I read a lot of books like, in fact, Vikram told me to read these books. Michael Newton's Journey of Souls, Destiny of Souls. I do believe in an afterlife. I do believe that, I mean, why is it that I am born to this family and somebody else isn't? You know, why do they have a worse life than I do? There must be some reason, some karmic reason. I mean, I don't get it. So then that's why I'm like, I'm not a religious person at all. I'm a very spiritual person, extremely spiritual. So yeah.
And you know, you're doing all the mainstream Bollywood thingies.
Oh my God.
You know, you have these wonderful ballads, great music in the film.
Thank
you.
You. Yes,
It is. Irrespective of what language it is, you always appreciate the kind of music it is. You know, the mellifluous ballads and things like that. And they're filmed in a wonderful manner.
Hi Shivam.
What's up?
Thanks for being
I think we'll just
late.
continue. We won't even cut.
Please.
How are you?
Yeah.
So we were just talking about many things, including intimate scenes, but we're not going to start off.
I'm glad I missed it.
Well, welcome to Radio 1 first and foremost. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Welcome to Radio 1, by the way. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. How are you?
Excellent. So, when you have somebody like Sanaya on your side, as a co-actor, half the battle is won, isn't it? I mean, just
I
look
know,
at
I didn't have to do anything.
You don't have to do anything, right? All you have to do is show up, and you have inspiration in front of you, and then boom,
God,
you
guys
deliver.
Are making me sound too good. I'm not that good. Shivam is like, she's not that good.
No, she's great.
But I'm just gonna have to say good stuff in promotion.
I think we're underselling her. We can do a lot more.
And I believe your Hindi is quite par excellence. I mean, where you grew up in
I'm
the
from
Hindi.
Lucknow. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
So you went to school there
it
and
helps.
college there, yeah?
I went to school there. College, I was out of Lucknow after that.
Wow.
Yeah.
You Lucknow boys are doing very well. Ali Fazal is from Lucknow.
Yeah,
and
he is,
He's
yeah.
doing very, very
Oh,
well.
is he?
for himself.
Is he from
From the
Lucknow?
same
Wow.
school as me, I think, but he had left before I joined.
He's
So,
doing some
Wonderful.
good work.
So you moved to Bombay just to be an actor, is
Yeah.
that it?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I wanted to act since I was a child. So as soon as I finished my education, I was here.
So you guys couldn't be more different from each other.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, she's a homegrown Parsi Rani.
Except
I
she's
mean,
a full Parsi and I'm half Parsi.
He's half Parsi.
I mean,
Yes, and
You're like Cyrus Sahukar.
All right.
Sahu is this odd combination,
Yeah.
which is I think half Punjabi and half. I mean, there are a few around.
Yeah,
Brocha is
yeah.
half Mac
Yeah.
and half Parsi. So what's
Oh,
your
Brocha is
combination?
half too, yeah.
I'm just a Hindu Brahmin, half and half Parsi. I don't really know.
Mum is Parsi.
Mom's Parsi, yeah.
Well, that's wonderful.
Thank you.
Parsis is one of my favorite people.
Yeah, same here.
I
love my
them,
Parsi
the
side.
joy de vivre.
I love his Parsi side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're a bit of a wacko sometimes.
No, just my nose. It's just my nose.
And obviously, if they put you down in front of a good bonu, you don't say no, right? I mean,
Of
that
course
kind
not.
of food
Yeah,
is.
Of course,
Yeah.
any food.
Patrani Machi,
Yeah.
what
And
does it
for
feel?
Shivam, any food.
I love food.
And then what do? You just gifted with metabolism, or do you go
A
and
little bit. And I
work
also
yourself
work
out?
out otherwise. But no, it's actually the metabolism. I can't deny it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how do you stay the way you do? Is it dancing or what is it?
This is just
You just
metabolism.
don't eat.
I used to, I know, I
You think it's a
ask
Parsi
Shivam.
thing again?
I think it's a Parsi thing. Ask Shivam how much we have eaten
Yeah,
in
yeah.
London, and
Yeah.
especially me. I've eaten
We've-
rubbish stuff. He's
yeah.
still maintained sometimes eating
Was
salads
you
and
eat
healthy
fish and
stuff.
chips or what? Like
Of course.
So I
Fish
love
and chips,
bread
shawarma.
and butter. I think that's my most favorite thing. I can just put butter on bread and just keep eating it all day. And dal and chawal. I love that also.
Or a good old Korean toast if you're here.
Ooh, yeah.
So I know for a fact that she just couldn't take the cold. Were you
Oh,
good at
yeah.
handling the cold?
I love the cold. I'm actually really good at adapting. So she was
You're from
always
the north. That explains
exactly,
it. Yeah, yeah.
exactly. So I was always chilling. I was happy outside or whatever, and she was always shivering.
I was,
She's
I was breaking down from the cold.
Yeah, it actually seemed like she was going to break down and fall right there.
Yeah.
It was very scary.
So she's not willing to commit to this, and I'm hoping you're willing to commit to it.
Why?
I see the trailer, and I feel it's a tale of also infidelity in the sense that, she,
Don't comment, huh?
No comments.
you guys are getting very good at this. I refuse to believe it's your first trail. A journalist gives you a carrot and you're not even biting.
I'm learning from her, like you said.
You vile people. You're not giving anything away. But there is a portion which I think really spooked me out, which is when the keys are there on the ground and you go down and the hand just comes and pulls it in, man. So, and I don't mean by real life stuff.
Yeah.
Did you ever get spooked out by any portion of the film? Have you seen the film?
Yeah, of course we have. Yeah.
So have you?
That we can
Were you really
Yeah.
spooked out? Now, don't give away a spoiler, but I'm
Right.
just saying, is there anything that really freaked you out when you saw the film?
While watching the film.
Yeah.
Well, there were many points that make you jump, and there are many points which you're not expecting, and all of a sudden happen. So again, they make you jump. But because we've actually
done
worked on it, it's difficult to be scared. You know what to expect, no? You know what's coming.
Yeah, you can't
Yeah.
disassociate
Yeah.
with what's happening. Yeah.
So we wouldn't be the right people to comment on it, I think.
And Shivam is not like a fattu like me.
I don't get
He
scared. at all.
doesn't get scared
You're
at
not
all.
Zia or a show through a blanket kind
He's
of
No,
lived
I
in a
loved it.
haunted house.
I loved watching the horror show when I was a child, and I've lived in a horror house. It was a proper haunted house.
So you're the kind of guy who watches Evil Dead and Conjuring and says, wow, looks forward
Of course,
to it.
I watch it alone at 12 o'clock at night in my room, which is also haunted. People don't want to go in there, and I'd watch it alone. I'm kind of
What
psychopath.
would your favorite horror film be?
A favorite? I loved The Exorcist, I remember, because I was very young at that time. And even though those chiming bells, I can still hear them if I want. I remember watching that alone and loved it. I
Emily
really liked
Rose?
The Conjuring. Emily Rose was a good film, yeah.
You
Haunting
know,
of Emily
another
Rose.
film that I really liked wasn't as much horror, but like I like these kind of films that play with your mind. The Others?
Do you remember when we were kids, there were these Hindi movies as well, which I can't remember the names of, like
You mean the
Kabristan or
Ramsey
something.
brother films?
The Ramsey brother films. Oh,
Where there's
20 Saal Baad.
20 Saal Baad was a good
where the
film.
tomato
Yeah.
That
sauce.
was a good
Now, if
film.
you see them, you'll realize it is tomato sauce. You know what I mean? the gore fest that they were. Yeah, but they really ran, man. I imagine at the time they really ran.
I remember some of that stuff actually used to give me nightmares, legitimate nightmares.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I was really scared, but I loved it. So
So, man, I mean, she's a legit star on television. It was
yeah.
only a
cool.
natural thing
Yeah.
that she moved to cinema.
Right.
You must have taken the long, hard route up.
Very
So
long.
how do you get this part?
Actually, so I've done another film called Siddhartha that hasn't released yet.
Okay.
But Vikram sir had seen the rushes of that film because Mr. Mahesh Bhatt, he also acted in that film as a lama.
Is this Mickey's film?
Yes, it
Mukul
is.
Mishra's film?
Yeah, so I
Oh,
was the lead
wow.
in that.
Oh, wow.
And that hasn't come out yet.
Because I do a lot of voiceovers. You know what voiceovers are?
Yes.
Yeah, for Mickey
Yes,
and
yes.
his company. Yeah.
Oh,
So anyway,
sweet.
continue. Yeah.
All right, yeah. So Vikram sir had seen the rushes of that film and he had really liked my work. So when he launched VB on the web, he'd called me in and he'd spoken to me and he told me that I would love to work with you. And then it had been a while, it had been over a year. And I got a call from his casting director and he said, he's writing this film, would you like to do it? And I heard the story and I was like, of course I would love to. And I just got on board.
And this VB on the web thing is what you've done a show too.
Right.
But that's not the same show, right?
No.
No.
He didn't do a show.
I didn't
you
do a
were
show.
called in.
Right.
Whatever.
Just to
yeah.
speak at that time.
Right.
And yours is called Zindagi.
Zindabad.
Zindabad.
Yeah.
What was that about?
So I was playing a raw agent. It's about ISI and raw, and it was an interesting script. And again, like character wise, it was something that I had not done before. So for me, it's just like I'm like trying to jump into things that I have not done before. And Vikram was acting in that film. Now everything's a film for me.
The whole lingo, the dynamic has changed.
Yeah. Vikram was acting in the web series, and my friend who was directing it was actually going to direct this film Ghost. And he was like, you need to do this, you need to do this.
Who's this guy?
Siddhant.
Okay, Siddhartha.
Okay, so he was directing it and he was searching for people. I think they were auditioning, meeting people. I don't know what it was. And he kept saying that, Didi kar le. And I actually didn't want to do films. I never did want to do films. So I was like, I don't want to do films. And he's like, please, just do this for me, do this for me. And then I thought to myself, I'm like, he's a friend. I can do it for him. And I was like, okay. Let's do this. And then, of course, Vikram said that he's not going to be doing it and I'm going to be directing. And nicely, so sweetly, Vikram is asking, are you okay with that? And I'm like, is he really asking me that? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, I asked Vikram this. I said, dude, there's all this Netflix and Amazon and things like that happening. Why would you spend your own money and do net content? But he's obviously got a business side to him too. Because he said, no man, where is the content going to come for all these guys? So I'm just creating like a mountain of content. And it made so much sense to me.
Made sense.
He says, when the time comes, I'm just going to sell it.
Right.
Cool. I wish we all thought like that. There are artists and there are businessmen. Very few people.
See, he's a
are
good
both.
businessman at the end of the day. We have to remember that, okay? Jo bhi
I don't think anybody can describe him.
He's a good businessman. So he knows what he's doing.
So our friends back in Lucknow nudging you and saying, oh my God, you kissed Sanaya Irani.
Oh my God,
I
gross.
did get that message. I did get that.
gross.
Oh,
Shivam,
so
no.
this friend of mine.
Listen, this
he's
is
like,
boy locker room talk. I'm
Listen,
sure
did
you
I'm gonna
you
tell
say
you.
good things about me, Shivam?
Of course. So I got a message
You
from
must
a
have, yeah,
friend
of
of mine
course, yeah.
who first when he saw the trailer, no, not the trailer. First when he saw my picture, he's like, "Oh, you're working with Sanaya. I've been such a big fan." I was like, "Yeah, you wait." Then the trailer came out. I was like, "You kissed Sanaya?" And then there was
Such a boy thing,
these,
right,
there
yeah.
were these angry faces and all. I'm like, yeah. And that was it. I
Only
hadn't
if
said
he
anything.
knew what
beyond
all
that-
I put Shivam through, Shivam would be like, that
And
was
beyond
not
that,
fun.
you can't
There
talk
wasn't much
about
to say after that. I was just like, I'm done.
What did she put you through? As in, like, you had to get mouth freshener on and things
Oh,
like
not
that.
like that.
no.
Yeah,
Tell her,
Bichara.
please tell her.
So I was really, really nervous. And obviously because it was the
I
first
wasn't
time.
at all.
Because he had
But
like
I had
kissed
already-
everybody and
that's true.
everything that he
That's
has
true.
done. Like अगर 4 चीजें की है इंडस्ट्री में 4 में तो किस कर ही रहा है ये
Don
बंदा.
Juan de Marco, ladies and gentlemen.
And he's like being like really chilled out and everything, and I am like freaking out, and I have this cervical problem, and now my cervical is like kicked in. Now I'm getting like pain through my neck, running through my back, and I'm freaking out. I'm not even doing the earlier scenes well. In fact, our DOP is
Yeah,
so
the whole
cute.
day, that whole day she was just like,
I was just like so nervous, and I kept saying that, please do aram se, okay, aram se. And he's like, what am I going to, like, am I going to eat her up or something? Why is she going on saying that? I must have said please to him like 1,000 times. Like, please just be good, just be nice. And he's like, you do what you want to, I'll follow.
yeah, by the end of it, I was like, I'm not going to do anything, I'll just follow. You do what you have to do.
Yeah.
So much for sensual scenes.
I know, right?
You have BTS behind the scenes and you
Oh
find
my
this ridiculous
god,
stuff.
there is this hilarious shot. I wish they can show it in the BTS, right?
What?
So remember when we were kissing and the camera is going here, and then I knew that it's a cut. Like before
Oh, yeah.
Vikram said cut,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. And Shivam is still like leading out. Oh yeah.
This was the other time, the second
The
time.
second time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right, after the first one, he's like, oh, that was it.
I was
I'm a
like-
pro now. I can do this.
Yeah, I was like, I can do this. Second time, Shivam is so sweet. He's even asking me, you like the taste of cold coffee? Can I have like a cold coffee before? I was like, yeah, I like coffee ka taste.
Thank you for that.
That is so clinical.
Thank
I like
you.
that.
It is. It's good.
That's so sweet, yeah. He asked. Nice. I like coffee taste.
That's wonderful. Okay, last few questions. A holiday destination that you've been to recently which you thought was really cool. Yeah?
I was
Just
just
come
come from Seychelles. Can you see the tan on
You
me?
have the Seychelles stand.
Woohoo! So today my makeup artist was like putting makeup on my body, and I'm like, no. I'm like, don't do that. I was like, I have a tan. Finally, I want to show it.
So you're beach girl or mountain girl? What
Beach.
were you?
Completely. I love the sun. I love to like just get rid of this color, this white color that I have, and I just love the ocean.
So it's just you and your husband chilling and just sacking out and
No,
yeah?
so we were there to shoot for the tourism, so it was really hectic also, but it was beautiful. So we just got back
I was
from
actually
there.
going to ask her later. So your romantic picnic while someone's being
Yeah,
taking pictures. I'm like, how does this work
No,
exactly?
but it was actually it's not that bad because it's literally 5 minutes
Right,
of that,
and
and
then
then
they
they
go.
like, and I'm
Yeah.
like, out.
And are you a seafood kind of person? Because I imagine in places like this, there's lots of seafood.
Yeah, and that's a problem for me. So I'm eating bread and butter, no? I'm bread and butter person. Bread,
You're a
butter.
A holiday destination you went to, and why is it so cool? You have to say that. You have to
Why is it so cool? Okay, so I love Spain. I love Barcelona.
Ooh, Spain. Yeah, my
Again,
most
I also
You
favorite.
love
haven't
the
really
beaches.
given me a reason for Lakshadweep, apart from saying that you're a
Like,
beach person.
Seychelles.
Seychelles,
No,
sorry.
so if you're asking me my most favorite
Yeah,
holiday,
yeah.
Spain. Yeah.
Would that be Mallorca, Barcelona, Ibiza, what?
Okay, so Barcelona was okay. I just thought it was like a little overcrowded, but like I loved Granada. I loved Seville. I loved Ibiza. Again, the beach. We went to this island called Formentera, which was a little away from Ibiza. You take a ferry and go. So Spain and Portugal. We had done that for 1 month. Me and my husband was the most fun trip. Most fun trip we've had. Yeah.
Lots of paella?
No seafood, no.
Yeah. Not a seafood person.
Yeah.
So I just love the fact that the people there are so warm. I just like the culture itself is very inviting. And even though it's a big city, you go to the beach and it has a totally different vibe. If you go to the city, then you have your clubs, you have things to do there, whatever. So it's just a very warm kind of environment, I think, which I really like. But on the contrary, I also love Amsterdam, which is a very cold place. But again, the people there are very interesting. They're very different. And it's just a really nice place for anybody and everybody, no matter what age you are, because you have something to do. Yeah.
Okay, you two's coming
I'm
into
sorry,
town.
can I? Weren't you scared? Like I was a little scared in Barcelona. I felt like I would get mugged. I don't know why. For some reason.
My dad was pickpocketed.
Yeah,
Right.
you just have to be
And
careful.
Something was shady about Barcelona. Everything else was good, but that place just had like this shady vibe.
But they also tell you in
tell
Spain.
you
They say,
themselves,
there's going to
just
be
be careful.
pickpocket. You
Right.
just have to be careful.
And then imagine Mohit. He knows he's going to be pickpocketed. Oh God. Yeah. Oh, by the way, my husband and Shivam, they're having an affair.
Big time.
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
The husband is just too cool.
So then I should just take you out for a
Yeah,
date.
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
We can manage.
So it's interesting you would say this because Dulquer and Sonam were here for the Zoya factor.
Right.
And turns out that Dulquer and Anand, which is Sonam's husband, have turned out to be really good friends, and all they do is talk about cars.
Oh,
And Sonam was like, dude, through the Zoya factor, before and after, these two guys would just get together and they would ignore me.
Yeah. There was a point where I was actually getting freaked out. I was like, stop it. Because I would work. He would sometimes have an off. And Mohit was there in
So
London.
we were always chilling.
And they're like, oh, join us here. We are here. And I'm like, why are they there without me?
It was more
I'm
like, oh, join us here or not. Whatever. We're okay.
There was Black Friday. What was it?
Yeah.
The Black Friday.
Yeah.
These two go shopping the
All day.
entire day, like husband and wife. They are going shopping, and I'm in the hotel. Imagine.
Good. The main man in your life with the main man in your movie. So U2's coming into town. They're at the DY Patil in December. Are you a U2 fan at all? Are you a rock fan at all?
Okay, not really.
Okay.
I don't like crowded places. I
Yeah.
don't go to concerts. Like I freak out when I see too many people. So.
But have you ever been to a concert like Bryan
I
Adams
have.
and
I
stuff?
had
Which
been
one
to
is that?
okay, the Ricky Martin concert when he had
Oh,
come
cool.
to India. Remember?
He was
Really.
dope.
Yeah.
Shake your bon and
Yeah. So I'd been to that, but I've realized crowded places just.
Yeah, but how was that concert? Because I wasn't there. How
It
was
was
that?
really good. It was really, really good, and I remember having a good time. But I have something with like
Was
crowds.
this in like in Andheri Sports Complex, or do you
No.
remember where it was?
I think it was somewhere in town only, close to town. I used to live in town,
Must
so
be
I know I
CCI
didn't.
or someplace,
I
yeah.
didn't go far from town. I remember. I didn't go far. Actually, I feel it was like somewhere, not Taj. The end of Marine Drive, Nariman Point. Pe kya tha? Oberoi? No.
No, this
At
must have been
that
the NCPA or something. I don't know.
No, it was not
It wasn't an
big,
open
huge.
area.
Yeah, no. But I remember going towards end, Nariman Point.
And did he play all his hits? Did he
Yeah,
play,
all his
Livin' La
hits.
Vida
Oh,
Loca?
yeah. All his hits. Oh God, it was fun. It was fun.
And did
but
you guys cheer out his name and
all
fist
that
pump
rubbish.
and all that?
Yeah, all of that we did. Yeah, and I thought he was so hot. I used to be like, ah. And then
It's like him
he
and
turned
George
out-
Michael when they came out of the closet. They broke so many girls' hearts.
No, by then I was over him, so he didn't break my heart. I was like, oh, okay, cute.
So she's not looking forward to the U2 concert at all. Are you a U2 fan at all?
I
or
mean, no, I used to listen to them a lot when I was younger, but I haven't heard them in a while. So,
a concert that you've been to is really memorable. Like she said, you went to Ricky Martin.
so I studied in Birmingham for my masters, and there was a Tiesto concert that I can never forget because it was packed, but just the sound, the lights, and the people
Raging.
were crazy. Like it was an amazing time. I haven't been to a concert like that.
Wow, yes, and Birmingham is also the home of UB40, really,
Yeah.
man. And Apache Indians from Birmingham, man.
Oh, were they? Oh, I didn't know that. Cool.
Listen, you guys are lovely. Thank you. I can't wait to see Ghost. All the best.
You're gonna
so
watch
much.
it,
You are
right?
watching it, yes.
Of course I will.
100%.
Yes.
You're gonna
Black
buy a ticket. Buy that 500 rupee ticket and go, please.
In Chandan. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank
Cheers.
you. Bye bye.